Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into UK clinical coding. It's a pretty specialized field, but honestly, it's like the financial engine room for the NHS.
Yeah, absolutely. And our mission today really is to give you that strategic map. How do you actually succeed and, frankly, earn well in this area?
Right, because it seems critical, but maybe a bit hidden.
Totally hidden sometimes. Think of the clinical coder as a kind of data detective. That's a good way to put it.
Data detective, okay.
Yeah, they have to pore over these complex patient notes, clinical reports, all that stuff. And then their job is translating it
Translating it into what?
into these universal codes. There are two main ones. ICD-10, that's for the diagnoses, the illnesses,
Yeah, okay.
and OPCS-4. That covers the procedures, the treatments, what was actually done.
Okay, so they're coding everything, but why is that translation so important? Is it just for, tidy records?
Oh, it's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's basically how the hospitals get paid. Seriously.
How does that work?
Well, the coded data gets bundled up into something called health-related groupings, or HRGs.
HRGs. Got it.
Think of an HRG as the official invoice for the patient's stay and treatment. The NHS uses this thing called the National Tariff Payment System.
Right.
And that system uses the HRGs to decide exactly how much money, how much cash the NHS Trust gets for looking after that patient.
Wow. So if the coding isn't spot on.
Exactly. If a coder misses a key diagnosis or maybe a complex procedure, the trust could literally lose out on thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of pounds just for that one patient case.
Okay, so accurate coding isn't just important for data, it is the funding stream.
You've got it. It's absolutely fundamental.
So the stakes are definitely high. If you want to move up, make more money, where's the strategic focus? What's the main thing to aim for?
There's really one major hurdle, or maybe gateway is a better word. It's achieving the National Clinical Coding Qualification, the NCCQ.
NCQ, right.
Getting that qualification makes you an accredited clinical coder, an ACC. And honestly, that's the professional license. Pretty much every trust requires it for any job that isn't explicitly a trainee role.
So without that NCCQ, you're kind of stuck at the entry level.
Pretty much, yeah. Your ceiling is very low without it. It's the gatekeeper qualification.
Why is it so definitive? Why that one specific qualification?
It boiled down to data quality and consistency, which, as we just said, links directly to millions in revenue. The ACC badge guarantees a national standard. Everyone knows what it means.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk numbers. How does getting the ACC actually change your salary prospects? You mentioned agenda for change.
Yeah, if we look at the 2025-26 Agenda for Change pay scales, it's really clear. As a trainee or maybe an assistant, you're typically looking at Band 2 or Band 3.
Which translates to about 24,500 pounds, up to maybe 26,600 pounds a year.
Roughly, yes. But here's the kicker. Getting that NCCQ, becoming an ACC, that's your leverage point.
Ah, so that's the jump.
That's the big jump. You immediately qualify for Band 4 or Band 5 roles. And that opens the door to salaries hitting nearly 38,000 pounds. Going from Band 3 to Band 4, that's the single biggest strategic pay rise you'll make.
Wow. And beyond that, for more senior roles.
Well, if you keep climbing maybe into specialist audit roles or managing a coding team, you're looking at Band 7 or even Band 8A.
And that takes you up to?
Potentially over 62,000 pounds a year. But remember, that entire path, all those higher bands, they all hinge on getting that initial NCCQ accreditation.
Okay, so the NCCQ is absolutely central. Let's talk about where you do this job now. I always pictured coders being physically in the hospital basement somewhere.
Maybe historically. But things have really changed, mainly because patient records are now digitized. Electronic patient record systems, EPRs.
Right, everything's online.
Exactly. And that has fundamentally shifted the job market. The physical location of the hospital matters much less now.
So it does matter.
It's more about the employer's digital setup, their infrastructure, and crucially, their willingness to offer flexible working. We're seeing this huge trend towards remote-first roles, often run out of regional hubs.
Wait, so you mean someone living in, say, Birmingham could be coding for a hospital down in Cornwall?
Absolutely. It's happening right now. It completely changes the game for things like work-life balance.
Okay, so how do you target the right job then, if location isn't the main thing?
Well, if you're just starting out, trying to get trained up for the NCCQ, you want to look for trusts known for really solid training programs.
Like who?
Royal Cornwall Hospitals Trust often gets mentioned. They seem to have a very consistent, structured approach focused specifically on getting trainees through that NCCQ exam.
Okay, good tip for new entrants. What about if you're already accredited, got your ACC, and maybe you want that remote flexibility?
Then you target the remote-first leaders. Trusts like Bedfordshire Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust or Somerset NHS Foundation Trust, they're known for offering these kinds of flexible, often nationwide contracts. That's gold if you want to work from home.
Are there options outside the NHS?
Yeah, definitely. We saw Nuffield Health, for example.
Hmm.
They offer hybrid coder roles, so some remote, some potentially office-based.
And the pay, how does it compare?
Pretty competitive, actually. It seems to align well with those NHS bands 4 and 5. Plus, you often get private sector benefits like private healthcare thrown in.
Interesting. And what about the really experienced coders, the experts? Where do they go?
Often they move beyond the day-to-day coding grind. They might go into high-level audit work or consultancy.
With specialist firms?
Exactly. Companies like IQVIA, which is big in health data science, or places like MIAA, that's the Mersey Internal Audit Agency. They do a lot of quality assurance, training, that kind of thing, often serving multiple NHS organizations.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. The core strategy seems clear. First, you absolutely have to nail that NCCQ qualification.
Negotiable.
And then you leverage this modern job market. Look for the remote or hybrid roles offered by these digitally savvy trusts, or consider the private sector, or even those specialist consultancy firms later on.
Precisely. Use the qualification and the market shifts to find the role that fits your life and your ambitions.
So what's the final thought for someone listening? Where might this field be heading next?
Well, here's something to think about. Coding itself is vital. We've established that. The data coders produce is becoming increasingly central to everything the hospital does. Strategic planning, clinical research, service improvement.
Right, the data gets used way beyond just billing.
Exactly. So the prediction, or maybe the strategic opportunity, is thinking about moving beyond pure coding into roles like clinical analyst.
Clinical analyst.
Yeah, you see these roles popping up at places like HCA Healthcare UK, and actually Bedfordshire too. It positions the coder not just as a translator of notes, but as someone who analyzes and interprets that data, a key player in, health informatics influencing management decisions.
So moving from translating the story to helping write the next chapter.
That's a great way to put it. It's about leveraging that deep understanding of clinical data to play a bigger strategic role. That feels like the next frontier.